Wild Kingdom is presented by Mutual of Omaha, the people who pay.
Welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. My goodness, WK, you're getting heavy. Why don't you sit right down here with Jim and Stan? Jim Fowler, Stan Brock, and I have just returned from a trip that took us into one of the richest wildlife areas in the world, here in South America, the Caroni River region of eastern Venezuela. Here, along a section of the river that cuts through broad savannas and high hills, live a great variety of South American animals. But the Caroni has been dammed here. And now much of the wildlife range is at the bottom of man-made Lake Guri, created by the huge Guri Dam. When the dam's floodgates were closed, some 500 square miles of untouched wilderness was covered by the vast lake. High points of land formed islands, havens where thousands of wild animals retreated from the rising waters. They might have perished but for the foresight and planning of two men, General Rafael Alfonso, president of Corporación Venezolana de Guyana, which built the much-needed dam, and Dr. Edgardo Mondalfi, head of the Venezuelan Association for the Protection of Nature. Working together, they found a way to save the animals when the dam was built. Their plan was called Operación Rescate.
That means Operation Rescue. And it was so efficiently carried out that almost 20,000 animals have been saved so far in the largest animal capture operation ever attempted. Hundreds of men, boats, and aircraft searched the islands for stranded animals, and the job is not yet over.
The final phase of Operation Rescue will begin when the rainy season comes and the lake rises even higher. As it does, present islands will disappear, and new islands will be formed from what is now the mainland, trapping more animals. Then the men, boats and equipment will move onto the lake once more to complete their rescue work.
General Alfonso invited us to test new capture methods for use in this final phase as we took part in a follow-up patrol checking the islands for animals that escaped the first rescue teams. We flew to the dam, island after island passing by below, and it wasn't long before our boat was skimming over the quiet waters of man-made Lake Guri. This huge lake still hasn't stabilized, and the water level sometimes changes 3 feet overnight. That's enough to flood many low islands. There's something moving far ahead of our boat. An animal swimming through an open stretch of water. It's a puma. He's heading for that rock. The rising water must have covered his island, and the mainland is too far to swim. He's lucky he found this rock. He looks exhausted. He'll either drown or starve unless we can rescue him. I'll need help. We've set up our base camp on a large island where we get a fine view over a good part of the lake. Waiting to meet us is Dr. Pedro Trabao, leader of this expedition. Dr. Trabao is director of the Caracas Zoo and an executive of Operation Rescue. He led the early capture teams onto the lake. And here's one of the first animals they rescued, a kinkajou. The trees this youngster lived in are now underwater. The orphaned kinkajou is too young to survive on its own, so Dr. Trabao has made it his mascot. Jim and Stan left camp to scout an area near the puma I sighted. They could reach the big cat quickly from the flooded hilltop they're exploring. Stan reports no sign of life there. It looks like a good time for them to move on and try for the puma.
The first rescue teams entered areas like this with caution. Poisonous snakes and spiders were everywhere. Millions of starving wasps filled the air, swarming over their drowned nests. But the wasps are gone now, and we've seen very few animals. Iguana. There are several on the branches ahead. They're good swimmers, and these big lizards are really hard to catch. When we get too close, they escape underwater. The puma should be just beyond these trees. There he is. He looks pretty tired from his swim. He'll be reluctant to leave the security of that rock. Our best chance is to snare him with the noose of our capture stick. Good. That does it. Now Stan can try for the tail.
There's no danger to the cat if Jim keeps its head above water. That's got it. Now to lift him aboard. He's exhausted, and so are we. Those front paws are deadly and have to be tied before we can transport the cat safely. The rope is made of braided nylon stockings. It doesn't tighten as it dries, and it's soft, so it can't cut the animal. That's it. We've got our puma. His next stop will be our camp compound. Later, he'll get an injection of antibiotic, and then he'll be taken to the mainland and released to roam free once more. We've made our first rescue in the floodwaters of Lake Guri.
The puma was safe in our camp compound, and now Dr. Trabau and I searched the lake for signs of other animals. There's something swimming away from our boat. A giant anteater. He's heading for a small island. These odd-looking animals are extremely dangerous. Even pumas and jaguars avoid them. It may be easier to take him on land, and Dr. Trabau tries to force him ashore. Our capture stick could never hold that long, tapered snout. He'd slip right out of the noose. We'll use a net. This could be trouble. Those tremendously muscled forearms and ripping claws may be difficult to avoid in the water. He's attacking. His brain is tiny and his eyesight incredibly poor, but the front claws make up for it. Now's our chance. No good. That does it. We've wrapped the net around him. Now for the boat. The net is far from a satisfactory capture method when it comes to anteaters. It's uncertain at best, and it means working too close to the animal. Dr. Trabowel will need another system when Phase 2 of Operation Rescue begins after the rainy season starts. But we've got the anteater, and Manuel, our Creole guide, will soon have us back at the camp compound. Looks like Stan and Jim have seen something too.
This should be a simple rescue. An armadillo. They're quite common. So far, over 3,000 have been caught.
It looks like we've been spotted. They're good swimmers, but this is too far from the mainland. Quite harmless with no means of counterattack. Their only defense is the armor plate on their back. Here's another one, and he's coming this way.
I wish all wild animals were this easy to catch. If we hadn't rescued them, the armadillos probably would have died of starvation long before their island was flooded. Grubs and insects they feed on are scarce on this barren island. In the darkness of the sacks, they should calm down quickly. Now for camp and some dry clothes.
It looks like one animal has found his own boat, a Capuchin monkey on some floating deadwood. We'll bring him along. Capuchins are South America's smartest monkeys and also one of the worst biters. He doesn't like being rescued. Look out! What a fighter! He's going to take on all three of us. Watch those teeth. Ouch! catch. You've got to be fast to grab this monkey. Well, it looks like we won't have to abandon ship after all. Capuchins are normally easy to catch in the water, but I have a feeling this fellow is going to give us an argument till the time we release him on the mainland. Manuel's bite isn't serious, and we've got our capuchin. Pound for pound, probably the toughest animal we've met so far. Now we are ready to test a brand new capture system on some animals we had spotted on an island not far from camp. Our preparations are almost complete. It's time to call Jim and Stan and put our plan into action. Jim's kept the boat offshore, waiting for my signal. Now they'll land on the island's far side. We're after peccary, the South American wild pig, and we're testing a new capture technique that Dr. Trabal has high hopes for, the cannon net. One end is anchored by stakes, and the other end is attached to the cannons. Actually, they're steel tubes that hold an explosive charge of gunpowder. When the charge is set off electrically, it exhausts through holes in the base plate, so the whole unit becomes a powerful rocket. Several of these rockets can carry the net over the quarry in a matter of seconds. The charges are set, and Jim and Stan are ready to find the peccaries. One last connection, and now they can begin driving the animals toward us. Once the peccaries are here, we'll have to lure them to the net. So Dr. Trabal baits the trap with corn. Everything is set. All 4 rockets are loaded and ready. Now to take cover. We just have to stay out of sight and wait.
There's what we're after, a collared peccary. When he sees me, he should move toward the net.
They're coming into view. We'll have to wait till they're all in position. Good, they've spotted the corn. Hold it! They're all clear of the rockets. It looks good. Fire! It worked perfectly. We caught every one. These are tough animals, and it will take some care pulling them from the net. Those teeth are big and sharp. The capture stick should make the job a little less hazardous.
The safest place to take hold of a peccary is by the hind legs. There, now to work it into the sack.
This one's too tangled up to use the capture stick. This is the first time I ever wished I had longer arms. He's no lightweight. Peccaries weigh about 50 pounds. Once we get them all in sacks, we can load them onto the boats for the ride home.
This is an ideal capture system. The net holds them securely, and we can take them one at a time as we're ready for them.
Here's the last. We caught every animal. The cannon net should be a valuable tool when Operation Rescue begins its final phase. We know it works on peccaries. If we hadn't been able to catch these animals, they probably would have starved or drowned when their island was flooded.
After a short trip, the peccaries will be freed in our camp compound. There, they'll be inoculated and fed before they're taken to the mainland and released. The capture techniques we've tested in catching them may help save thousands more in the rainy season, when the boats of Operation Rescue move out once more onto the rising waters of Lake Guri.
What'd you think of the cannon net, WK?
I think he was cheering for the peccaries.
Well, he ought to be pretty happy if he was, because the peccaries, the anteaters, and the other animals were the ultimate winners in this conflict, as we took them from our base camp to a medical compound where Dr. Trabal inoculated them against disease. Then they were transported to the mainland, where we released them to continue their lives along the shores of Lake Guri. The anteater, like all the animals, seemed to adapt immediately to its new environment. We had proven the worth of several capture systems, but the biggest test was still to come. We were soon to encounter one of the most feared animals in South America, the powerful jaguar. We'll meet this great cat in Operation Rescue Part 2 next week on Wild Kingdom.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
This little demonstration is strictly for smokers who've never tasted a Camel cigarette. Camel smokers, you know what we mean. I'd walk a mile for a Camel. You other guys, start walking.
Am I going nuts? Mint in my menthol shave cream? Oh, last night was rougher than I thought. Maybe I am whacked out, but that is mint. And that is my menthol shave cream. Mint in a menthol. What a wild idea. Whoa, it feels cool like menthol. Smells fresh like mint.
Rapid Shave Menthol Mint. It's a new kind of cool.
wonderful world of Disney.
Now, from the wonderful world of Disney, Wild Geese Calling.
Wild geese calling me home, restless, I don't know why, yearning, longing for someone, my heart is trying to fly. Softly, the rustle of wings whisper to follow the wind. Waiting, who will be waiting? So now the journey at last begins. Where does the wanderer go? Must he go on alone? Or will he finally know he is home? What can a wanderer do but go his weary way when the long journey is through? Can he stay? Wild hearts are calling to me. Wait up, and I'll go along, wanting, pleading and haunting. Wild geese are calling, they call me home. Wild hearts are calling to me. Wait up, and I'll go along, wanting, pleading and haunting. Wild geese are calling, calling me home.
At this season of the year, home for the wild geese was a lonely marshland lying somewhere near the Mexican border, far removed from the haunts of humankind. It was a day in spring, but not just an ordinary day. This was the moment some mysterious message had gone through the ranks. This was a day on which exciting things would happen, a day of portent. For one thing, it was the mating season, and the time when the geese would choose each other and pair off. This was the time when mated pairs flew together, the time when they swam together and stayed together, never out of each other's sight. For it is the unchanging way of the Canada geese that once they're mated, they are faithful for life. Now, a lone gander flew low over the marshes, a strange and poignant tone in his voice. This, we shall see, is to be the wild wanderer of our story. And in following his fate, we shall be following that of all wild geese. Wild geese calling. There was an urgency in his cry, almost a plea. For it seemed that in this time of pairing off, he of all the geese had not yet found a mate.
Where does the wanderer go? Must he go on alone? Or will he finally know he is home? What can a wanderer do but go his weary way? When the long journey is through, can he stay? Wild hearts are calling to me. Wait up, and I'll go along, wanting, pleading and haunting. Wild geese are calling, they call me home.
Then he saw her, a single female, off swimming by herself. That fact alone said she was unattached. The preliminaries were brief, and the acceptance of each other mutual. Though seemingly casual, this would be an attachment for life, true to the tradition of all Canada geese. It was not long before the gander was called upon to prove his devotion when a rival gander appeared on the scene, another Johnny-come-lately seeking a mate. Sometimes in a situation such as this, bluff is all that's necessary. But sometimes a physical browbeating is in order, and an irate gander can be a formidable fighter when he needs to be. Later that morning, a new touch of drama came to the marsh. The arrival of the snow geese. Cousins of the Canadas, these handsome birds frequent the same watering places and in their season travel the same flyways. And that was their purpose now, to make ready for the annual migration north. And so they came, not in dozens, not in hundreds, but in thousands. By actual count, in this one flight, 17,000 birds. That, it seems, was what the day's portent had been about. The annual spring migration would soon begin. A brief moment to rest, then on again. A journey that would carry the geese north to Oregon and Washington, and for some, the prairies of Canada. 1,000 non-stop miles along the broad Pacific Flyway. Our gander and his mate would make this migration too, along with the others. But since it was to be their first, they would go as followers, not leaders. And for the moment, their identity would be lost in the thrilling spectacle of mass flight.
Calling me home, restless, I don't know why, yearning, longing for someone to fly softly, the rustle of wings, whisper to follow the wind, waiting, love will be waiting, so now the journey at last begins. Where does the wanderer go? Must he go on alone? Or will he finally know he is home? What can a wanderer do but go his weary way? When the long journey is through, can he stay? High wings gleam in the sun, magic to those who must roam, always searching and always wild geese are calling, calling me home.
The mystery of migration is one of nature's great unanswered riddles. How do the wild geese navigate? What instinctive compass guides them on their unerring way? No man can say, for no man knows. Much depended, of course, on a wise leader, a veteran who knew the landmarks from journeys made in other years, the certain rock formations that had special meaning. Or sometimes it was a certain river that was known to be winding its way north. Sometimes the landmarks were man-made, a highway system laid on the land like a ruler pointing north. Perhaps it was simply a northering railroad and a northering train. The wild goose's sense of direction is truly uncanny. But this was no easy journey. It was a battle all the way, a test of stamina, a fight against fatigue, and for many a weary mile, a battle against the elements themselves. To these wild travelers, a house on a hill was not the famous Hearst Castle at San Simeon. It was simply a house on a hill, and another signpost telling them their navigation was correct. By now, they had left the dry desert far behind. Now they were racing spring itself and the season's wildflowers that had begun to carpet these lush California meadows and hills. The flyway was as wide as the whole state, sometimes following the central valleys, sometimes the colorful coastline. these airborne travelers, San Francisco Bay became a natural checkpoint. Here they took their bearings carefully, for now their course would take them inland. In the great Sacramento River basin, they followed the river's course, passing the checkered patterns of man's orchards and fields. Soon they began to catch up with spring as they crossed the northern ranges, where snow still lay on the higher peaks. Finally, journey's end, and the long, graceful letdown to a sheltered refuge and a well-earned rest. This would be their new home for the summer, Malheur Lake in eastern Oregon. Here on the peaceful reaches of Malheur Lake, the migrating geese at last had found sanctuary. This was the season in nature when all wild things seek out their own, each to his own kind. Like the others, the redhead ducks were pairing off too. And the nuptial procession of the canvasbacks was colorful to see. The perky little ruddy ducks lent a touch of the comic to their ancient ritual. The western grebes made an elegant couple, perhaps the handsomest of the waterfowl. When it came to dignity, the swans were the most stately of all. But among these many matings, none would be more permanent, more loyal and devoted than that of the Canada geese. This remote and lonely spot would be their breeding ground, for to all intents and purposes, it was uninhabited. Almost, but not quite. It seemed this was the private preserve of another wild soul, a lad of 9 named Dan Tolliver. He was something of a loner, a boy of the sagebrush who was more at home on the prairie than on his family's farm. Since he had no brothers or sisters to play with and no near neighbors, young Dan had learned to invent his own entertainments. Often these involved some rather odd friends among the denizens of the marsh. Tall as Dan himself, the sandhill crane had struck up a curious Don Quixote companionship with the boy and was always ready for a game of tag or an antic dance. Sometimes it was a question of who was flying, and who wasn't. As for the sandhill, he took it all in stride, never missing a step. Young Dan Tolliver was the true conservationist. He had learned to respect all life in nature's wide domain, and he was friend to all. And so it was only natural that this young vagabond should eventually discover the nesting ground of the wild geese. And from that moment on, there would hardly be a day go by that he wasn't at his post, watching, but always as observer, not as participant. Though young in years, Dan, it seemed, was old and wise in the wisdom that mattered, and he had long since learned not to interfere in the ways of nature. By now, our mated pair had become a true family couple, devoted to each other and to their respective duties. For long hours at a time, the goose stayed quietly on the nest. That was her job, incubating the eggs, while the gander served as sentinel. When it comes to alertness, there are none so sharp as the wild geese on their home ground. And both gander and goose were quick to spy the marauding raccoon and recognize him for the notorious egg stealer he was. The boy could see that the raccoon was pretending nonchalance and maneuvering all the while, hoping somehow to catch the sentry off guard. But Dan wouldn't interfere, mainly because he felt sure the gander could handle the situation. And so it came about that Dan was witness to many an intriguing episode. And before this summer was over, he would know this little family better than his own. About a month later, the nest became the stage on which an age-old drama was played out. The drama of life beginning. As for most wild things, life for the goslings began with struggle. As soon as the youngsters dried off, which took only minutes, they became their fluffy, ambitious, energetic, and precocious selves. Born to the water, they were quick to take to their element, and within an hour of their hatching were launched on their own. From the moment of their first dip, the young goslings were expert swimmers, and from now on, the water would be both home and protection. As the days passed, the boy was often at his observation post, never disturbing his friends, never interfering with their daily routine, yet developing a very possessive feeling about this particular family. These were his geese, and he would see that no harm came to them. And so time went by, the youngsters feeding and growing, the parent birds keeping watch over them. In fact, the goose made it a point, even when taking a nap, to always sleep with one eye open. The wild geese are strong believers in territorial rights and do not normally permit trespass. If another goose should come too close, perhaps a bird without young of her own bent on kidnap, the response was apt to be immediate and emphatic. For all the family protection, there always seemed to be one tag-along in every brood with an instinct for getting separated from the others. And when this happened in the tall marsh grass, he might just as well be wandering alone in the woods. Now he was easy prey for whatever predator might happen along. As it turned out, this was his lucky day. It was Dan who found him wandering far afield. And this time, Dan made an exception to his rule. For once, he would interfere. Better the boy finding him than some fox or coyote, or some bloodthirsty mink. It was Dan who located the family the youngster might never have found in his panic and confusion. And it was Dan who put things in order again. One small, lost gosling, one frantic, distraught family, one happy reunion. A rewarding moment, Dan felt, and a proper turnabout for the many hours of pleasure the geese had brought him. Later that summer, there came upon the geese the curious condition known as the molting time. As a result of it, they lost the power of flight. Try as they might, they just couldn't get off the ground. On the water, it was the same. Though they flapped their wings frantically, the vital flight feathers were gone. They flew after a fashion, they went through the motions, but even their most strenuous efforts took them only a short distance, and they were never airborne for long. For birds so given to the air, this seemed a strange handicap for nature to inflict on them. Yet this was her way of overhauling her marvelous flying machines. This was her maintenance period. During the next couple of months, the geese would grow an entire new set of flight feathers and would in time be as good as new, refurbished and re-outfitted for the long journey south in the fall. It was during this flightless period that the geese were vulnerable to all sorts of predators, among them the wily bobcat. Ordinarily, the bobcat would not have wasted his time on such a foolish maneuver as this. Try to capture a bird that can fly 50 miles an hour when it wants to? Preposterous. But the cat was smarter than that. He knew when the scales were tipped in his favor, and he was determined to make his try. Well, it was a bitter pill to swallow, along with his pride. Maybe the geese couldn't fly, but they could certainly maneuver, especially on the water. And a chastened bobcat realized he'd got his feet wet for nothing. The perils of the geese tended to multiply as the summer progressed, particularly when the marsh grass became tinder dry and the lightning storms began to flicker on the horizon. It took only a single bolt of lightning to turn the marsh into an inferno. Now, when the geese needed most of all to fly, they were as helpless as the rest. Where the geese had entered the water willingly, there were others who took to it as a reluctant last resort. Yet, they too seemed to understand that a water barrier was the only thing to stop the advancing flames. One morning, as summer turned to fall, Dan heard something in the distance that disturbed him. It was not the calling of the geese, for that was a sound he'd heard all season long, and he was quite accustomed to it. It was the sound of guns booming, an ominous barrage that he knew could only mean trouble for his friends. For this, he remembered, was the season of the hunter. It bothered Dan that his geese should be in danger. And without quite knowing what he would do about it, or could do about it, he decided he must go to where they were and try to warn them. Meanwhile, his favorite pair had heard the shooting too. Instinctively, they made it a point to fly low. always keeping below treetop level and following secret channels and back byways. The shooting seemed louder now. The boy knew the hunters were near. Indeed, they seemed everywhere. Suddenly, they were right in his pocket. His gander. Dan knew it was his gander. His only thought now was to find the bird before the hunter's dog could get to it. The gander had been winged, but not mortally hurt. The boy's heart went out to him. He knew he must get the bird away from these guns.
There. I've got it. That's all we can do now. The rest is up to him.
Mom, when he gets well, me and May I keep him for a pet?
Maybe. If he doesn't mind being kept.
Fortunately, the gun blast had been off the mark. Only a few pellets had struck the gander, but one of those had nicked a wing muscle, and now it was apparent the bird was in for a long convalescence.
Let's give him a chance to get acquainted with his new surroundings.
For the wild spirit, captivity is a crushing thing. All savor seems to go out of life. Though the boy brought food often, the gander would not touch it. He stayed apart, pining for his mate, longing for the freedom of the marshlands. This bothered Dan, yet he could not force the bird to eat against its will. His only hope was to win the gander's confidence with kindness and care, and maybe the example of the hungry chickens might eventually have its effect. The boy spent many a patient hour trying to win the gander's friendship. And in time, felt he had succeeded. Day by day, the creature of the wild seemed to become more and more domesticated. And so Dan let him have the freedom of the barnyard. Given this opportunity, the gander made a beeline for the nearest water. And soon was enjoying his first refreshing swim in weeks. By late October, Dan's mother decided that the wing was strong enough, that the bothersome splint could be removed. This was a great day for the patient, and young Dan, too. The wild creature he'd come to consider his own was at last well and whole again. With patient, expert fingers, Dan's mother worked carefully as any surgeon.
He looks well enough to fly. I think you should turn him loose.
But I want to keep him for a pet.
He'll never be a pet, just a prisoner.
Only if I had a little bit more time with him. He'll be real tame.
Very little time left. He should be gone before the winter sets in. You think about it, Dan.
Meanwhile, the gander's mate continued to haunt the waterways, calling forlornly, searching the farthest reaches of the sanctuary in the hope of finding him. She couldn't understand what had happened to him. She only knew dimly that she wanted him and needed him. But time, it seemed, was running out. Now the nearby peaks were burdened with snow. Now a frosty chill lay on the air. And now the ancient signal was coming through again. And the wild geese knew without question that it was time to turn south. Obeying the flock instinct with the others, the goose began the return journey too. Then suddenly she felt compelled to drop out of the formation and turn back. Back for one last look. Who is to know and who's to say what led her eventually to a certain lonely barnyard, except the bond of fidelity that guided her there. Together again at last, yet separated as much as ever. For the pen was so confining, the gander had no room for takeoff. The goose is a bird that cannot spring into the air as certain ducks can. It requires a long runway. And so until the gate were opened, the gander would remain a captive.
And keep your coat buttoned.
Hey, Mom, look!
That must be his mate.
Now came the test, the trial of conscience. Could the boy let his prisoner go? Dan's mother had her own private hopes, but she let the decision be his. boy responded in the only way he knew how, for he himself had often heard the call of the wild, and he heard it clearly now. The gander heard it too, like returning to like. And once again, the wild geese were calling him home.
Wild geese calling me home. Restless, I don't know why. Yearning, longing for someone. My heart is trying to fly. High wings gleam in the sun. Magic to those who must roam. Always searching and always wild geese are calling me home.
This is Antonio Santaella. Locked in the heel of his boot, a big pen. No matter how you punish it, a Bic ballpoint pen writes first time, every time. And here's why. Bic's textured diamide ball is the hardest metal made, precision fitted into a solid brass nose cone. Bic medium point, 19 cents. Bic fine point, 25 cents. Bic writes first time, every time.
Yeah, now see, this is what it's all about. Jogging. Wish I could jog about 1,000 miles. Just put one foot right in front of the other. Let the old feet do the work. Hello there, feet? Yes. Who is this? Well, this is the brain. We just want you to know that you're doing fine. What are we doing? Well, we're jogging. What do you mean, we? You mean the guys down here doing all the work? We stand up all week for you? Swelling up, going down. Next thing you know, on the weekend when we're supposed to get rest, you plop these work shoes on us, and that's it for us. People must think we're crazy. Don't worry about a thing, feet. Jogging's beautiful. You're gonna love it all the way.
Up one, up 96, 23, 1,000, hey!
Hey! You guys know better than to play out in the street, huh?
You won't tell on us, will you, mister?
Well, you threw me a pass. But the plate Kincaid gathers it in. He's going all the way, folks. There's the running out into the street. He can feel the players on him. He turns around. He runs back the other way. He's knocking players down. They think he's going the wrong way. Kincaid turns around again. He's knocking. He's punching. He's straight after man. And he's going all the way for his 487th touchdown. He's turned. He grabs four of the players. He smashes them on the ground. Almost went down that time. Let's go back. They're all right. Yes, they are. He's cutting him. And now, running 470 touchdowns. Throw a long pass the other way. Who was that ringing an empty phone book? I
I know what it is. It's a beautiful spy girl. The enemy's captured her, taken her to an abandoned warehouse where they've locked her in. The guard's fallen asleep. She's knocked the phone off the hook, dialed a number at random, and that's the number. Yes, indeed. Hello? Beautiful spy girl. Oh, what's wrong with me? Hello?
Only get some raggets and some ropes and reasonizers. Ha 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 ha. Every day. Long as I'm away.
Here named Calvin. No, there's nobody here with any name. See, this is a phone booth here on the street, a payphone. In the garage? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now you want a guy named Calvin in the garage here. Okay, just hold the phone a sec. I'm sorry. Hey, Calvin?
Oh, I'm Mac.
Yeah, well, see, I'm looking for Calvin. His wife's on the phone for him over there.
Did you look around up there for him?
Yes, I did, and I didn't see him.
He probably isn't here.
All right, well...
Say, hand me that ratchet around there.
Okay. Now, listen. About Calvin...
What time is it?
1 o'clock.
He's probably gone to lunch.
Okay.
Hey, gun that motor for me one time, will you? Oh, now gun it again and hold it about 10 seconds, huh?
No, man, wait. No, see, I can't do that. I have to get going.
Well, you do want your truck fixed, don't you?
No, see, I don't have a truck here.
Well, tell me what car it is and I can tell you if it's ready or not.
See, I don't have a car, man. I'm just jogging, see, and the phone rang and Calvin's wife wants to talk to him on the phone.
Well, he ain't here now.
Oh, all right, then. Fine. Hello? No, we can't find him. No, man, we don't know where he is. Okay. All right, okay, if it's that important to you. Hey, Mac!
That's you, Calvin?
No,
you just had a phone call from your wife.
Yeah, well, this is... listen, I gotta find Calvin. This is a jogger.
He's at Birdie's, round the corner.
All right, Birdie's. That's what we want to find out, Birdie's. Down the street. Birdie's. Hello? Yes. Mrs. Calvin? Right, he's at Birdie's down the street. Okie doke. What? Hey, wait a minute. Look, hold it. I don't have anything to do with that lady, you know. He's at Birdie, so that's your husband. Right. Huh? Just a minute. I'll write the number down for you. Hold a second. Hello, Mac? Mac? Hello, hold the phone a sec. All right. You're at your sister's house. It's very important. And your number is unlisted. Okay. So, here we go. All right, let me have it. 6. Wait a minute, not so fast now, not so fast. 661. Is that 07? Okay. 9. 661 0799, right? Okay. All right, I'll have him call you right there, right away. of a sudden I'm Dear Abby. Calvin? Anybody here named Calvin? Follow up the gas station, says it.
Yeah. I'm Calvin.
Okay, fine. Nice shot, man.
Hey, you from Cleveland?
No. I didn't even go to Ohio State.
Oh. I used to work in Cleveland.
Well, that's wonderful. This is not my shirt. I found this mixed up with my clothes in the laundromat there.
That's cool.
Yeah. Now, your wife wants you to call her.
Would you talk to her?
Well, on the phone.
I didn't hear the phone ring.
Oh, no, not this phone here, see. It's a phone out across from the garage, you know. And so your wife gave me this number here and said for you to call her right away.
What number is that?
Well, you can't hardly read it too good because I had to scratch this in with my thumbnail, you see. But this is the number right here. It's 661-0799. And that's the number, and you call her there at that number.
Yeah. I'll call her.
Well, Calvin, see, she seemed to be upset about this, so you better call her.
Upset about what?
I don't know. She was yelling and everything.
About what?
Well, I don't know, man. See, I was just running down the street, and so the phone rang out across from the garage, and I answered it, and so she said,
you
Calvin.
answered?
Yeah, see, I was running, man. I'm jogging, and when I came down the street, then the phone rang, this pay phone, you know, across from the garage. So I answered it, and this lady said, is Calvin there? And I said, no. She said, well, go to the garage and ask. And Mac said you were at Birdie's. So I'm back to the phone, and I said to your wife, I said, yes, he's at Birdie's. So she started screaming and everything, said, give you this message, and you have to call your wife at her sister's number because it's not listed enough.
Well, wait a minute. You told her that I was here?
Yes.
No, man, you didn't. This guy tells my wife that I'm here. Oh, you really did it, man. You really did it.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that, you know, but your wife wants you to call.
Oh, man, you don't understand. You just... Oh, what are you guys watching? Oh, listen, man. See, I promised my wife that I wouldn't come in here anymore.
Oh, yeah, I see.
No, you don't see. You see, well, just about a week ago, I lost an awful lot of money in a game here, and she sort of got hot and everything, and she said that if I ever came in here again, she was going to walk out on me.
Well,
so listen, what we'll do is...
We?
Yeah, we'll call her up.
No, man.
Yeah, listen, not over here. We'll go back to the garage, and then you can talk to her.
No, man, now.
No, listen, all you have to do is call her up and talk to her.
Yeah, but see, I don't want to talk to her now.
But you got to talk to her.
No, I don't.
No, you got to talk to her. Don't you understand? You got to tell her that you only thought I was here. Okay. Tell her I was here. But tell her I wasn't playing. I was just having lunch with the boys. You know how wives are.
I've never been married myself.
Hey, it's only going to take 5 minutes.
Let me tell you something, man.
Yeah.
See, I got 1.5 miles to go on this thing here. Now, I think that in all due respect, I have made it a personal thing for myself that I would never become involved in anybody's domestic affairs, you see what I mean? Now, I think, Calvin, that if you take this number here, see, if you call your wife, and you tell her, man, you say, like, I was gambling and all that stuff and so forth and so on, and then you just depend on her loving and tender mercy, man. And that way, see, she's gonna be, well, anyway, man, you call her at this number, and good luck to you.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, wait a minute, buddy. Listen. You can't do this. You can't leave me like this.
Listen, man, one of my first and all-time rules is do not interfere in other people's affairs. That's all there is.
But this is your affair.
Yeah.
You're the one that answered the phone. Look, wait a minute. Look, maybe tonight, you can just jog over to my house. Look, it's not that far. Look, I'm not asking for me. It's for the sake of our marriage, for our future children.
I can't get myself involved, man.
Oh, why'd you answer the phone? Why'd you talk to my wife?
let the thing ring, man. From now on, I'm not answering any more telephones, especially a big one. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to answer my own telephone. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to read my mail for fear that somebody will say, please go and answer this pay telephone. So what I'm going to do is run straight on up to the hills, rent myself a cave, and become a freelance hermit. Yes, indeed.
You see that guy? Yeah. Do you think he's our man? Fits the description.
Police cars probably want me to answer their telephone.
Hold it!
How fast was I going?
I'd like to see your identification.
Was there some law against jogging?
We'd like to check your identification, please.
Identification.
Well, do you have a driver's license?
What, for jogging?
Something to prove who you are.
Something to prove who I... Well, I would have brought my wallet with me had I known you were going to stop me.
Are you from Ohio?
No, I'm not from Ohio. See, well, see, what happened was I was in the laundromat, and this was left in there with my clothing, so I put it on.
What's your name?
My name is Chester H. Kincaid, and I was going to return this, see?
Look, about an hour ago, a man fitting your description held up a clothing store at 8th and Chapter.
Yeah, well, I'm a school teacher, see, and I was out here jogging up and down, physical fitness. And besides, man, do I look like I would hold up a clothing store? Anyway, if you're talking about 8th and Chadwick, I've been running around here all the time.
Can you prove it?
Of course I can. There's a lot of people who see me.
One will do.
One? Fine. There's a guy, his name, right down here at the gas station, there's a guy, his name is Calvin, down here, 2100 Maple.
Okay, well, we'll talk.
All right, well, you don't mind if I jog down to...
In the car.
Right, that's it. Get right in the car. Well, I can understand that, especially with my face. I mean, the other day I went into a restaurant there and sat down at the counter in front of some dirty dishes, and the waitress started to write a check out for me. So that's easy to happen, you know, especially with my face. I mean, I understand you guys, you get a description of a guy, so you go out and you pick him up. I mean, you got your job to do. But I'm not that guy, see. You don't know that, but I'm not the guy. So do you know a Thad Johnson?
Never heard of him.
I see. Thad Johnson works over at the Hollywood station. He's a sergeant, desk sergeant over there. Well, he's a good friend of mine.
Is that Calvin?
No, that's Mac.
Can he identify you?
No.
I thought you said you talked to him.
Yeah, I did, but he didn't see me. He was under the car, man. Hey, Mac.
Huh?
Listen, is Calvin around here?
Who?
Calvin, the guy that works here. We want to talk to him.
No Calvin around here.
Listen, man, there's not going to be any trouble or anything. We just want to talk to Calvin. Yeah? We just want to know where he is.
No Calvin around here?
Yeah, we know he's not around here. We just want to know where he is.
Calvin?
Let me talk to him a sec, will you, please, man? Listen, come here. Let me talk to you. Now, there's not going to be any trouble or anything. Now, I'm the guy who answered the phone. I tapped you on the foot, talked to you about Calvin's wife, wanted to talk to him on the phone. Now, I've got to find out where Calvin is, but there's not going to be any trouble.
Look, man, I got work to do.
He doesn't want to get involved with this whole thing, but he did give me a phone number.
Oh, he did?
661-0799. We can call Calvin there. Do you have a dime? Thank you.
Did you hear about Larry getting up to lieutenant? Man, what a break this time. Ooh.
Lieutenant. It's a good thing, with his wife expecting a new baby, you know.
He deserved it. He's been on the force, what, 17 years now? Heck, he's a good man. You never know. Maybe we'll get lucky, get us a bank robber or two. We might get up someday ourselves.
Think so?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, is Calvin there? Calvin? Yeah. Okay. May I speak to him? Hey, Calvin? How you doing? Yeah. What do you mean? This is Chet, you know, the guy. I came into the pool room earlier today and told you that your wife wanted you on the telephone, and then you said you were in trouble and you wanted me to come over and say that you weren't really shooting pool, remember? Yeah, well, I'm ready to do that for you, man. Well, I mean, a guy can have a change of heart. Are you straightening that all out? Well, that's good, man. I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah. Well, see, now listen, I'm down here at the gas station, and there's 2 policemen with me, Cal. Yeah, policemen. Uh-huh. Well, see, well, no, it's nothing serious. It's just that, well, see, they'd like to talk to you. Oh, yeah, they'd like to talk to you. No, don't sound that way, man. No, there's nothing serious. See, it's just some dumb thing that happened that they think I held up a clothing store, and I told them that I was with you, you see. And that I couldn't have held up this store, you know, that I was jogging, we were going to fix things up, you know, with your wife. Well, look, man, I'm sorry, you know, but this is more serious than the other thing. You hope I do? Calvin? Cal... Not that Johnson, Spencer Johnson. The sergeant over at the Hollywood station is Spencer Johnson. Call him Buzz. Buzz, yeah. Probably a lieutenant by now. He's a good friend of mine. So if I answer a phone 2 miles away from the robbery, how could I have done it?
Yeah, but you can't prove that.
Well, you said the guy stole $400, right? All right, now where would I keep $400?
This is Milan.
Where are you from in Ohio?
I am not from Ohio, man. I was born in the city of brotherly love.
On that clothing store job. Yeah. Have the owner come in for a positive identification. All right. Thanks.
I sure do wish I was back there now, man. Look, I am a school teacher. I teach at Holmes High School. I went out jogging, phone rang in the street, and I picked it up.
So you're a school teacher?
Yes.
So you make $6,800. So you're underpaid. So you pull a little job on your day off.
I think this is just a case of mistaken identity, man.
We'll find out soon enough.
Listen, do you know a Buzz Johnson?
Never heard of him.
Who works over at the Hollywood. Listen, can I call my lawyer?
This is your privilege.
Thank you very much.
Come in.
Hey, Jogger.
Yeah, how you doing, Calvin?
Calvin! Golly, how you doing, man? I went to the gas station.
Yeah?
And Mac told me that they were bringing you in.
Right, good, all right.
Who's this?
This is Calvin, and he's going to explain everything to you right now.
Yeah, it's all right. He was with me all the time.
Right.
Maybe that's what you did with the money.
Did what with the money, man?
You handed it to an accomplice along with your clothes. Then you went off in that sweatsuit, just another innocent jogger.
What accomplice?
Don't worry about it. Can I call my lawyer?
Hold these two for a lineup. 211 PC robbery.
Oh, pardon me. Lieutenant, we got the guy from the clothing store job. Found the 400 still on him.
Bring him in.
Right. Okay, pal, let's go.
Calvin, I certainly appreciate you coming down here, man. Get me out of this mess.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, well, good, man. Listen, you want me to call your wife or anything like that? Is something special I can do?
Okay.
Yeah?
You see, I won back most of the money.
Did you?
And she forgave me.
Well, that's great.
You
man.
know how women are.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I'm going to get on then.
Can I give you a lift?
No. See, look, I got a whole nother mile to do on the thing. So take care. Be good, and thanks a lot.
I
Certainly appreciate it. Take it off.
I do, lady.
Wasn't he nice? Yes. People from Ohio are so friendly.
Some raggets and some rolls and reasonizers. Ha 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 ha. Every day. Long as I'm away.
Cigarettes with all the cute little holes in the tip.
Cute holes? Sure.
Thanks.
Hey, mister, how about some of those skinny cigarettes?
In this fancy, frilly, you gotta have a gimmick world, there's one cigarette that doesn't go along.
Camel filters?
Camel filters aren't for everybody. There's no compromise in the tobacco. No nonsense about the taste. Camel filters. They're not for everybody, but then they don't try to be.
Decisions. Do I want good, rich flavor or one that's lower in tar than the best-selling Filter King?
Wait. Now one cigarette gives you both. Pell Mell Gold. Newest U.S. government figures show Pell Mell Gold 100s now lower in tar than the best-selling Filter King. Longer, yet now lower in tar than the best-selling Filter King. You make out better at both ends with Big Tip Pell Mell Gold. Tastier, milder. Pell Mell Menthol, too.
Ah, the good time taste of Schlitz. All a matter of timing. It takes you just a moment to enjoy it, but it takes months to bring it to you. Months to brew and age every golden, mellow drop of Schlitz, because you just can't rush quality like this. The golden age of Schlitz is what makes it America's choicest premium beer. Once you taste it, you'll know why we say, when you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer.
What will it be? Hot beans and bacon or just jerky and hardtack?
Yeah.
All right, hot beans and bacon it is. You got a whistle? Oh, I don't got it, but I like to. I'm pretty good at it, too. One way to prod a mule.
If there's anything I can't hardly put up with, it's a feller that wakes up in a happy mood.
My coffee that bad?
No, look at that. Well, I ain't never seen nothing like that without 3 or 4 belts of booze. I know there's a lake out there.
Lake? There's no water within miles of here.
There may be no water, but that's for sure a boat.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row
Gently down what stream?
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat, life is but a dream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
That's all it is, gentlemen. A dream. Yeah, it appears like one, don't it?
Yeah, sure does.
What a beautiful one on a morning like this. Donald Q. Hurt's the name. Don Q for short. That's my daughter, Abigail.
Abby for short.
Yeah, horse cart right here.
Candidate's mine. Handy for short.
A pleasure to meet you, gentlemen.
You just got rowing, huh?
Yes, fine exercise for the biceps and the chest muscles.
Good for the waistline, too.
Yeah, I imagine, but it seems it'd be a mite better if you did it in water.
True. But as there's no water, I have to make do with what is available.
You chose grass.
There's no law against it, is there?
No, not that I know of.
I wouldn't want to drift off course.
Drift? Oh, of course not.
Do you think there should be one?
Huh?
A law against rowing in the grass.
No.
If there was one, it'd be a dang foolish law, wouldn't it? I think.
Well, not all laws are sensible, Mr. Cartwright, but if there was one, a foolish one, I mean, I assure you I should not break it.
Paul believes in the law. He upholds it, abides by it, he lives by it.
Unless, perhaps we're trespassing. I hear the Cartwrights own a lot of property around here. Is this Cartwright land?
Can't be, Paul. I checked the charts real good. This is government land, isn't it?
Oh, yes, but,
See, we lease the grazing rights, so.
Oh. Are we infringing on those rights?
Well, no, I reckon not. I can't figure how one horse and a boat's gonna do much eating.
Oh, well, in that case, we'll up anchor and be on our way.
Oh, wait a minute. Please, just one question. What's this all about?
Well, at my age, in fact, at any age, a man should do what he feels like doing when he feels like doing it. After all, none of us know how many tomorrows we have ahead of us, do we? You ready, Abby?
Right, Paul. Row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Gently down the stream.
Life is but a dream. Merrily, 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 merrily.
thought you two would be halfway to Elka by now.
Yeah, well, we would have, Paul, but
Something came up.
Well, what would that be?
Well, you know that piece of government range down south of Widow's Peak?
Actually, the natural plan to graze those 200 head of steers that you're supposed to be picking up.
well, you see, Paul, we ran into this man out there. Joseph, will you quit that?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You met this man. What about him?
yeah. Well, you see, this man, well, he was a nice man. Nice little man. He had a big stovepipe hat and fancy clothes. He was dressed real well.
Fine. You met a well-dressed man. I'm very happy. Now, what has that got to do with you being here instead of on your way to Elko?
Well, see, Paul, you ain't gonna believe this, but this feller we met out there, he was... Can't you tell him what he's doing? Oh.
He was, rolling in the grass.
This man was rowing?
I can't, he wasn't exactly rowing.
Well,
he was rowing a boat in the grass is what he was doing. He had a horse in front of it. See, the dang boat had wheels on it, and he had a horse in front, and this girl sitting on the horse, see?
Hey, this girl, she about 5'6", light brown hair, wears it kind of long. Nice smile. A little mole behind her earlobe.
Oh, you know them, do you?
Well, he sure knows her all right.
I didn't know about the mole.
Yeah, right behind the left earlobe.
Yeah, well, we didn't get that close.
You know, she'd be Abby Hote. That'd be her father, Don Q. Hote.
Don Q. Hote? I don't believe it.
No, that's fact, Paul. He told us his name. That's him.
Yeah, I met him about 3 years ago down in the Arizona Territory. I was delivering those horses to the Army Remount Depot.
Yeah, were they as nutty as a tree full of squirrels then?
Well, let's say they were kind of unusual, yeah. But nutty, I don't know. At least you couldn't convince the Arizona Pacific Railroad of that.
What do you have to do with them?
I'm not too sure. I never did get the whole story from him, but what the people say, he made the railroad sit up and beg.
And this same feller is rowing a boat across a pasture that we got the grazing rights leased to?
Couldn't you find out why?
Yeah.
Well, he told us.
Yeah, he said that he wanted to row a boat, so he was rowing it. He said a feller ought to do what he wants to when he wants to. Leastwise, that's what he said.
Oh. Well, I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to meet this man right now.
You want us to go with you?
No, you just continue on to Elko and get those steers. Joe, you know them? We're going to meet this Don Q. Hote.
That's the man's name.
Oh, I tell you, sight of him rowing that boat out across that pasture would make a teetotaler order
a double whiskey, bartender, please.
Mr. Keelot.
Quickly.
Mr. Keelot, you don't drink.
I do now. Pour, please. When cold sober, I see a man in a high hat rowing a boat on wheels through a field of grass. Then I think it's high time that I started drinking.
High hat rowing a boat.
Sure do sound crazy enough to be him.
Sure does. Where'd you see all this, friend?
South of town, near Widow's Peak.
Was he a young feller?
Old. If my horse hadn't had blinders on him, he probably would have bolted.
Are you, sure about this, Mr. Keelot?
Pour it. How do I drink this?
Like water, friend.
I've been watching it for 10 minutes, and I still don't believe it. Why don't you have yourself another little nip? Maybe they'll go away. Still there.
Now, you know they can't be real.
I'll find out.
Well, does she feel real?
I'll find out.
Well, she sure kicks real. She sure does.
Sir, I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
Sorry? I'll give you something to be sorry about.
I assure you it was an accident.
Well, that's just what you're going to have. Let go of him. Get your hands off me, you... Joe Cartwright.
Hi, Abby.
I'll be back in a second.
You boys better take Glenn to town.
Oh, well, we wasn't meaning no trouble, Mr. Cartwright.
I know that. You never do. It's that bottle keeps getting you into trouble.
You're purely right, Mr. Cartwright.
We're gonna swear off.
You take the pledge.
I'll help you, boys. Do it the easy way, huh?
You're sure a real help, Joe.
You sure give a man strength.
Anything for a friend.
Now, you better get going.
Yeah.
Yeah, going.
Abby, how are you?
Joe, how long has it been?
It's been 3 years. You look better than ever. Hey, Mr. Holt, good to see you.
Delighted to see you, Joseph. Like the cavalry, you arrived in the nick of time.
Oh, Paul, we could have handled them.
You perhaps, my dear, but I'm past the age of fisticuffs.
Excuse me, this is my father, Ben Cartwright. This is Abby Holt, and her father, Mr. Holt.
An honor, Mr. Cartwright.
Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure.
Holt, don't Q Holt.
Very interesting name.
Actually, Donald Holt. I threw the Q in myself. It gives it a sort of flair, don't you think?
Yes, yes, definitely.
I take it your big son and his friend mentioned meeting me this morning.
Yes, as a matter of fact, they did.
And piqued your curiosity?
I must say it's a most unusual-looking what?
Pop and I like things out of the ordinary.
It's fine exercise. Tones up the muscle. Tears down the waist.
Yes, yes. Nothing but exercise, no other reason?
What other reason should there be, Mr. Cartwright?
Well, of course. None that I can see. I was just wondering if perhaps there was some reason I couldn't see.
Well, let's just say that it's a little eccentricity of mine. I like to startle, shake up people. Any other question?
No, no, of course not.
Well, in that case, we'll be on our way.
More exercise?
Of course.
Tone up the muscles, tear down the waist?
Yes. Abby, are you ready?
Yes, Paul. Will I see you again?
Sure, how long are you going to be here?
Oh.
A few days, a week, a month at the most.
Oh, then we'll be seeing more of you.
Certainly will, Mr. Cartwright.
Goodbye, Mr. Cartwright. Goodbye, Joe.
All right. Take care, Goodbye.
You know, I was just thinking, they might run into some more trouble. I like the drunks, you know?
Well, they might.
It might be kind of neighborly of me if I just kind of rode along with them and, you know, stuck close to them around camp and so forth, just so they wouldn't get in trouble.
Neighborly.
Yeah, I thought so.
Joseph, I think that would be very nice of you.
I can do it.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Bud.
Is it him? And his daughter and 2 other men. Take a look.
That guy riding off. It's Ben Cartwright, the man who owns the Ponderosa.
Are you sure?
Ought to be. I worked for him once a long time ago.
Oh, that Holt's a smart man. Cost the Arizona Pacific a fortune. You can bet that whatever's going on down there is going to cost somebody a lot of cash.
You think he's after Cartwright and the Ponderosa?
That seems to figure all right.
Ben Cartwright's a tough old bobcat. He's not about to start giving things away.
Neither was the Arizona Pacific until Don Q came along. Now, we'll let Don Q tangle with the Cartwrights. And whatever he squeezes out of the Ponderosa, we'll squeeze out of him. Pay you more than the $1 a day you make as deputy marshal.
Squeezing money from a thief, huh? Now, that's the kind of work I like. It's almost legal.
Are you, gonna go rowing again tomorrow?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Pa.
Ask me what?
Oh, whether or not you were gonna go rowing again tomorrow.
Oh, no. I've had my fill of exercise. Perhaps you'd like to try.
Thank you, but no.
He doesn't need any.
No, but he doesn't. Abby, you get away from that fire.
Pa, we have to eat.
But not your cooking. You know, I ascribe the excellent condition of my digestion to the fact that I avoid Abby's cooking as often as possible.
Pa.
Her mother, God rest her soul, was a terrible cook. And that's one talent Abby seems to have inherited from her. Why don't you drag her away from here?
I'd be happy to.
And I'll provide a supper fit for, well, not necessarily a king, but at least edible.
All right, Pa. It's all yours. Come on. No, he's right. I am a terrible cook.
Yeah, well, he seems to know what he's doing.
Oh, he does, and he
Well,
does.
then, why don't we just let him do it? Make supper for one. You and I can go into Virginia City.
3 years, and you haven't changed a bit.
Well, look, a little supper and a midnight ride. What's the matter with that?
Everything.
Like what?
Well, we've got a very busy day tomorrow, and I'm tired, and Ginger's tired.
Ginger? Who's Ginger?
The horse.
Oh. Oh, I don't know why she should be tired. Your father did all the rowing. Look, seriously, what's your father doing rowing around in the grass like that?
Why don't you ask Pa?
Oh, I did. My father did. My brother did. Canty did.
Abby!
Oh, I'm being summoned. I tell you what, if you're very good, I'll let you do the dishes.
Now, it seems to me you did the same thing to me in Arizona.
Abby? Mr. Hope?
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
It's a beautiful day.
It sure is.
How do you like your bacon, raw or burned?
Oh, you're gonna do the cooking, huh?
Afraid to take a chance?
No, your father didn't scare me a bit. You don't know what bad cooking is till you've tasted one of my brother Hoss's pancakes. Unbelievably soggy. It smells good.
Strong?
Huh? Well, let's just say that if you put some of this in a wash tub, you could float an ambulance.
Well, I usually make it 2 weeks, so this morning I put some extra coffee in it. Wait till you taste my bacon.
I can't wait. Of course, when you see how bad it makes me feel, you might decide to go to Virginia City with me.
For a late supper and a moonlight ride. It's a bit early for that. The sun's barely up.
Well, look, you start early and stay late. That's the ideal way.
Well, we can't go till Pa gets back. He took Ginger.
Well, where'd he go?
Virginia City.
What for?
Oh, he had to see a man.
You didn't mind me asking who?
A government land agent.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? Father rows across some land and he goes in town and sees a land agent. Why would he do that?
It's his business.
Just might be my father's business, Vic.
Not prefer my cooking?
I think I'll take your father's advice and avoid it.
Sure I can do it. But what kind of a fool notion is that? Putting wheels on this old scow.
Never you mind. You do it, and I'll pay you.
Two and 14.
Mr. Keelock.
Oh, Mr. Cartwright, come in. I have to tell you, Mr. Cartwright, that I have been drinking.
Yes, well, I didn't know you did, but...
Actually, I should have started a long time ago.
Why?
When a man comes in here and files a claim to buy 2 sections, 1,280 acres of the finest grazing land in the whole territory at $1.25 an acre, simply because he has rowed a boat around it, well, then I think it's time for all good men to start drinking.
You recorded that claim?
As I am obligated to do by law.
What law?
Oh, I'm glad that you asked me that. That's subsection D under paragraph 2 of subsection capital A under Roman numeral 3 of Article 12 of the Federal Swamp and Marsh Act. And it's a real law.
What are you talking about, Swamp and Marsh Act? We're talking about good, dry grazing land.
Just a minute, George, just a minute. Read that.
Furthermore, a man may claim for $1.25 an acre all of that area which he can row.
I mean, row.
Joseph, go on, Mr. Gill.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Cartwright. Which he can row over in a boat from sunup to sundown. And that is it.
Well, it's silly. You can't row where there isn't any water.
As the gentleman, Mr. Hope, was at pains to point out, there is nothing in the section about water.
Well, it'll never hold up in court. No?
Well, if I know lawyers, they'll try to make it hold up.
Well, what's that do to our lease?
I'm afraid that you're going to have to take that up with Mr. Hope.
Don't you realize that if this story gets around, every bum, every thief, every drunk in the territory will be rowing around over all our prime grazing land?
What can we do to stop them?
Well, we'll just have to stop them somehow. Oh, we'll get an injunction. Yeah, we'll have Judge Harper serve an injunction on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, stopping you from filing any further claims until this law is amended to include the words "in water."
Oh, that's a splendid idea, Mr. Cartwright.
Now, you'll have to come with us, Mr. Keeler.
Gladly. Only I'm afraid that I'm not quite able.
There's your injunction, Ben. Thank you. Mr. Keelock, now you have been served.
Oh, thank you very much. Now, may I sit down?
Yeah, Mr. Keelock, right over here.
What are you going to do about the claim that's already been filed, Ben?
Well, let's stand up in court.
In my court, it would. Oh, I'm afraid it would stand up in the Court of Appeals, too. So I guess I'm just going to have to deal with the not-so-nutty Don Q. Hope.
got a feeling they're in for a big surprise.
You think we ought to tell them?
No, let them go. They haven't done that much work in a bunch of Sundays.
You're right, you know. The exercise will do them good. You know, tone up their biceps, trim down their waists.
It will get cold.
Yes, my dear, thank you.
There's a grizzly bear standing right behind you.
Yes, dear. Oh, this is most interesting. Oh, I beg your pardon. Did you say something?
Nothing important.
This is Oregon homestead law.
Oregon, Pa.
Hmm?
Oregon.
Well, Oregon, whatever you like. To qualify as a homesteader on the land set aside by law for such purpose, the person claiming a homestead must dig a well.
Well, I can understand that. It's always nice to have water.
Yes, but supposing the homestead's on the side of a river or a lake, still you have to dig a well.
Well, that does seem rather foolish.
And the law doesn't specify that the well has got to have water in it. It just says you got to dig one. You must also build a fence, length unspecified, a house, a cabin with 4 walls, a door, and a roof.
Pa, you're thinking again.
There are some most interesting loopholes in the structure of this law. For instance, it does not say how big the house must be, nor how long it must stay on the homestead in question.
Well, why should it? If it's built there, it's meant to stay there.
Well, that was the presumption of the man who wrote the law, but it needn't be true.
Well, why would anybody move it?
Well, if someone settled on the homestead to work the land, they wouldn't. But if, on the other hand, they were interested in obtaining legal rights to vast amounts of property at no cost,
Well, you and your father came up with a real good one this time, didn't you?
Meaning?
Meaning a real nice swindle.
We've never swindled anyone.
I guess you've been expecting me, Mr. Holt.
Oh, please. Not so formal. Don Q. Yes, I did rather think you would be calling on me.
Yes. All right. How much?
You're a blunt man, Mr. Cartwright.
Well, there's no point in beating around the bush. You know I need the grazing rights to that land.
Well,
How much?
I'm not sure of the value. How much were you paying the government?
$1,200 a year.
$1,200 a year?
That's right.
Well, I think we could come to terms.
Well, that depends upon what you consider terms.
You were paying the government $1,200 a year. Suppose we make an agreement that you pay me, oh, say, 12?
$12 what?
Dollars a year.
Dollars?
Frankly, Mr. Cartwright, I had no idea that you leased the rights of the grazing on this land. I just knew it was government land.
Well, I don't get it. If you don't want money, then why'd you bother to file a claim?
Satisfaction. Right, Abby?
Right, Pa.
I don't understand.
You would. If you had been a citizen of the United States for only 5 years and had spent much of that time, as I have, studying the laws of the land.
Well, I still don't.
You're still in the dark, eh?
Yes.
Well, I'm afraid that when I put the Q in my name, I shaped my character.
Don Q. Holt. Yes, of course, but, well, you've been successful tilting at windmills.
Just my small contribution to my new country. Yes, I've toppled a few windmills, like this ridiculously written law. I'm sure the filing of my claim will cause it to be sensibly amended.
Well, as a matter of fact, I filed an injunction to do just that. Of course, it won't affect your claim. Now, how long a lease are you willing to give me?
Would you say perpetuity? Forever would be long enough? $12 a year? There you are. Your lease.
Oh, do not forget the $12.
Oh, no.
And 1, 2, yeah?
Thank you. Answer a question. Gladly.
The Arizona Pacific Railroad.
Oh, you heard about that, eh?
Yes, I did. I heard you made them sit up and beg. They're a pretty rough outfit. I've had dealings with them. How'd you do it?
Well, their freight rates were outrageous, and they wouldn't lower them. So I decided to float stock in a company to build a competing railroad.
Well, I thought they had the only right of way.
Oh, they do. But I was going to build my railroad in the Gila River.
What? In the Gila River?
Yes. Oh, I had a wonderful plan drawn up. I was going to divert the river and then lay my tracks in the dry riverbed, which, by law, is public land.
Riparian rights, of course. Well, could it have been done?
I haven't the faintest idea. I never thought I'd have to try. You see, when a company is as greedy as the Arizona Pacific, they become easy to bluff. So I bluffed, and they cut their rates in half. Answer your question?
Yes.
I dislike greed in companies, stupidity in laws, and foolishness in men.
My sentiments exactly. Been a pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Holt.
Oh, don't kill.
Don't you. Ready, Joe?
Yeah, I'll be right there, Paul. Oh, now that this is over, can I see you again?
Just me, not my father.
Yes, open both, just you.
I like that.
Now, what about tonight?
Fine.
See you tonight.
Well, now, waiting time's over.
Oh, thank you, my dear.
Pa, how long are we going to be staying here?
Oh, I thought maybe a couple of weeks.
Do you mind if I see Joe?
Mind? I'd be delighted. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Holt.
You know me?
We've met. Arizona.
Walters. Bert Walters, you work for the Arizona Pacific Railroad.
Still do. Brought the marshal along to serve a paper on you. Legal one.
Oh? What is it?
The lawyer says it's a lien, a writ of attachment impounding everything you own.
On what basis was it issued?
Don't ask me. I'm no lawyer. But it's all legal and proper, isn't it, Marshal?
Legal and proper.
The railroad is suing you.
Oh, how flattering. Well, there's not much to impound, gentlemen. Just 2 horses, 2 bedrolls, and a rowboat.
Plus 1,280 acres of prime grazing land.
Oh.
If you wonder why we know that, we bought the land agent a couple of drinks this morning.
Yes, I imagine he needed one.
Sure did.
So you're putting a lien on the land on behalf of the Arizona Pacific Railroad?
We could. There's some other very interesting possibilities.
Such as?
Well, you've got 1,280 acres of good land, and it kind of seems Ben Cartwright wants.
Ben Cartwright's a rich man. You could pay a lot for him.
Pay enough to split 3 ways.
And, what happens to the lien?
Well, that's just a piece of paper. Could be torn up.
It's an interesting idea.
Pa!
What is it, Abby?
Pa, you can't go back on your word to Mr. Cartwright.
There comes a time, Abby, when a man has to think for himself.
But, Pa, you can't.
Abby, I can. Forgive me, gentlemen. A little rebellion in the family.
Pa, you're hurting me. Pa, what are you up to?
Turning a small profit and teaching 2 fools a lesson.
But I don't...
You trust me?
Of course.
The moment I ride out of here with those 2 men, you ride over to Ben Cartwright and have him meet me in town.
All right.
Now start to cry. Not another word, Abby. I'll handle this matter. I'm sorry, gentlemen. Now, back to business. I have a little proposition for you.
What?
Frankly, I don't want to become involved here or back in Arizona. I'd like to pull out with a little profit.
What do you mean, pull out?
Well, when I filed the claim on that land, I paid a $100 filing fee.
So?
When the claim is finally registered and approved, there'll be another $1,500 to pay.
I'm listening.
Well, as I want to move on, I'll sell my claim right now.
For how much?
$400.
3.
Done. I'll settle up. We'll ride into town and transfer the claim immediately.
I'm telling you, Horace, we rode this boat over every foot of that land we're claiming.
Mr. Kinrose, I don't care. If you rode this boat over the entire territory, I cannot accept your claim.
Why not?
Because a court of law has enjoined me from doing so.
Court? Law? Did what?
Enjoined. You're too late with your claim.
Well, now, we're always either too early or too late. I tell you one thing we're not too early or too late for, boy.
What's that?
That's drinking.
Yeah. Right. Wait a minute. What am I going to do with this boat?
You want us to tell you?
You can.
Never mind. I'll get rid of it somehow. I hate boats.
Mr. Keylott.
Oh, Mr. Cartwright. Oh, now don't tell me there's any more trouble with that stupid law. This has been the worst day of my entire life.
No, I was looking for Mr. Holt. Have you seen him around?
No. Oh, yes. Yes.
Where is he?
I don't know. And if I never see him again, it'll be too soon.
Abby! Mr. Cartwright!
Pa, is everything all right?
Fine.
Well, what do you want to see me about?
Well, to pass on a little information and to ask for a little help.
Help?
First, the information. I, sold my claim.
Pa, you didn't.
For $300 cash.
For $300, huh?
Subject to all previous rights, easements, and agreements.
What's so funny?
Well, what your father sold. Nothing, right?
Precisely, Mr. Cartwright. I love selling nothing to greedy men.
No. Wait a minute. I don't get it. What do you mean he sold nothing?
Well, they've got these 2 prime sections of grazing land. But I've got a lease which says I can graze all my stock there forever, just as long as I pay them $12 a year, right?
But I didn't tell her that.
No.
In fact, they're coming out to the Ponderosa tomorrow to sell it to you for as much as they can, and, well, now, that's where I could use a little help. If you could continue negotiations for a couple of days.
Fixing to move on, are you?
Well, I think it rather advisable.
Where you heading?
Oregon. There's some very interesting homesteading laws there, and I bought myself a house.
A house?
Well, it's more of a shack.
We're going to settle down?
Well, no, not exactly. Smithy, will you be ready soon?
Ready now.
On wheels?
That's my kind of house.
Quite an idea, don't you think? Abby? Hi, Joseph. Hi, Mr. Cartwright.
What's he gonna do with a house on wheels?
I don't know, but I have a feeling Oregon is going to find out.
The Bold Ones. E.G. Marshall. John Saxon. David Hartman, doctors expanding the horizons of the new medicine. Earl Ives. Joseph Campanella. James Parentino, lawyers defending justice in the nation's courtrooms. Leslie Nielsen. Harry Rhodes, public servants enforcing the laws of a challenging society. The Bold Ones.
How much more of it can he take? Not much, huh? I can't get over it. I mean, here I am, taught to respect human life. I sit around praying for someone to die. See, he can give my father a kidney, and he can live.
Steve, you haven't had any lunch. Why don't you...
Imagine that, Doctor. I'm praying for a human being to die.
I think I know you better than that, Steve. As old as whatever God you're praying to. Don't sweat it.
Dr. 359.
Dave.
Dr.
I'm sorry, Doctor, but we have no additional funds for whatever it is you think you need the money for.
That's very funny, but this morning I'd settle for one small, live, well-organized kidney.
Marco, how soon do you need it?
Soon, Dave. Maintenance dialysis won't support him much longer.
And here I am, still a 5-iron away. I've got to get on and down into...
I'm right on the glide path. Oh, great, except one thing. I got a 707 sitting right on my tail.
Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Hello, Dr. Hunter.
Hi, Doctor.
Hello, Doctor. I think we might as well get started. Everybody here?
Except for the last of the angry old men.
I think we can go ahead without Dr. Gold. Gentlemen, this is a left ventricular bypass pump.
Okay. Get up. Put your shirt on. Oh, boy.
Well, am I gonna live, Doc?
Tell me, you still working Manny's Delicatessen?
Oh, yeah. About 8 months now. I must have washed about 1 million dishes.
Yeah, you must have eaten about 1 million chopped liver sandwiches, too, and all that cream cheese. I bet you eat about a vat of cream cheese every day,
Well,
right?
It's part of the job, Doc. I mean, you know, Manny, he don't pay me too much, and he lets me eat everything.
Borelli, you are a tub of lard. You are the fattest Italian I've ever seen in my life, right?
Doc, So help me, I'm gonna go on a
You're gonna die, Perilli. You're gonna die. You keep eating like that, you're gonna die before you can pay me my bill. And speaking of my bill, come in.
Dr. Gold, you were due at the Institute.
Dorothy, I want you to call Manny at Manny's Delicatessen. Tell him not to feed Perilli anymore. Otherwise, I'll have to make him an accessory after the fact. Here. What? Come on. What are you waiting around for?
I came in, Doctor, to remind you that you were due at the Institute 15 minutes ago.
Oh, for crying out loud.
The oxygenated blood then flowed normally from the patient's lungs into his left atrium. From there, 80% of it was drawn by suction into the pump's chamber, held there for a moment by a one-way valve, and then ejected by the pressure of the pump's diaphragm into the aorta. Now, the rest of it took nature's course. It passed through the newly implanted artificial mitral valve into the left ventricle, which continued to beat, and out then into the aorta.
Excuse me, doctors.
Sorry, Dr. Gold, I'll wait.
I was sorry I'm late, fellas, but I had something important to do.
Here at the Institute of New Medicine, which bears his name, Dr. Craig has gathered some of the top physicians and scientists in the United States, along with visiting specialists from around the world. Working alone and in teams, they are quietly paving the way for breakthroughs so dramatic and exciting as to boggle the mind. And because of them and others like them, tomorrow promises to be better for all of us. This is Bill Welsh.
Very good, Bill. Very good indeed. Some coffee?
Yes, thanks. No complaints, Doctor?
I don't photograph very well from my right side. When are you going to release it?
Well, we'll put it on the national news at 7 tomorrow night. Our affiliates can spot it on their local newscasts later in the evening.
Good.
Dr. Craig,
Oh, excuse me. Yes, Nancy.
you asked me to call you when Dr. Gold arrived.
Is he in my office now?
I'm afraid that's an understatement, Doctor. He's taken over.
I don't care what he said. He gives you nutty advice like that, he'll probably flunk out anyway. What? Oh, yeah? Well, listen, I'll be with you in a minute, fellas. Look, I don't want any more static. I want you to take those pills the way it says on the bottle. You understand me? And then you call me at the first of the week, right? Right. Oh, boy. Call you for 3 phone calls.
You chewing out your patients again?
I tell her to take some pills. She tells me she's got a nephew in medical school, says she doesn't have to. So now I suppose you're going to chew me out, huh?
3 lectures this week and 1 demonstration. You were late for 2 and missed 1 altogether.
I had things to do.
Important things?
Look, you know, I didn't mean anything personal.
What did I miss?
Nothing.
In any event, you've got to do better than this.
I'll try.
Don't try, Ben. Do. It's important.
Well, I think it's more important that I spend the time with my patients. Every minute I'm here means that much time away from them. Most of my people are pretty poor, Dave. They get the short end of the stick everywhere else. I figure I got to give them the best I got.
Including your knowledge of new developments, new techniques?
Yo, come on, don't give me that. I keep up. I got one of those cockamamie new tape gizmos in my car so I can keep up in wide-track stereo.
If you can't attend classes, why did you enroll in the first place?
You know why, Dave, as well as I do. Because if you don't want to be called a lousy GP anymore, if you want the fancy, shiny new title, quote, specialist in family medicine, unquote, why then you have to have 300 hours of, quote, accredited postgraduate study, unquote.
But you're not impressed with the specialty.
You bet your sweet life I'm not, partner.
Then why do you want it?
Need it, doctor, need it. It's tough enough for a GP to get his patients admitted to a hospital the way it is. If I can pick up the specialty, the status symbol, it'll get easier. If I can't, the way things are going, I don't have a prayer.
You can't have it both ways, Ben. If you intend to get the rating, you've got to attend classes regularly, either here or somewhere else. Hold all calls, Nancy.
It's Dr. Lewis calling from Chicago.
All right, I'll take it. This may take a little while, but stick around. I'd like to thresh this out once and for all. Hello? Oh, yes, I'll hold.
Hey, maybe I can keep Dr. Gold occupied while you're on the phone.
Good idea. Hello, Roy. How are you? Listen, I read Dr. Tesla's paper. Yes, it created quite a stir. I'd like to bring him out here to the Institute.
This is one of our intensive care units. For every 4 beds, we have 3 nurses, and the patients are constantly monitored and observed on closed-circuit television. Hi, Mary.
How are you, Doctor?
Good, good.
Oh, Mike, what is it?
An analgesic demand unit.
Is that so?
It dispenses medication. In this case, meperidine. He had chest surgery yesterday.
You mean you let him take as much as he wants?
As much as he needs, which he knows better than anyone else. It's an experiment, but it seems to be working.
Patient, heal thyself.
I know. Looks like it belongs in a brokerage house.
They call that in medicine. Plug in the patient, push a button, and poof, instant diagnosis.
This equipment monitors the patient's condition during surgery. 8-channel EEG recorder, blood gas monitor, acid-base balance of the blood. Fast, efficient, accurate, saves time, money.
And lives?
And lives. This can make the difference.
And when the computers take over the world, Doctor, what happens to you?
I do what you're doing. I go back to school.
You're doing what?
I'm growing my own arteries. You see, I've got one of these things in me right here, like this. And my tissues grow into the tube.
Tissue die?
Well, yeah. So later, when they take this out, well, they'll have room to replace...
Or bypass.
Well, yeah, whatever. The arteries that are clogged up in my leg.
Using his own tissue eliminates rejection.
We hope.
Dr. Gold, telephone. Dr. Benjamin Gold?
It's probably Dave. I guess he's ready to tangle again. Excuse me. This is Dr. Gold.
Mr. Rodriguez, Doctor. Frank Rodriguez.
Well, what happened?
Automobile accident. They're taking him to Craig now.
Looks like a head injury.
Please, I'm his wife.
You'll have to wait outside. As soon as we know something.
Okay, get his head now. Easy. You know what the problem is, Pete?
Head injury. Blood pressure?
Very faint. About 80. Dr. Gold.
You in there? All right, you go find a place to sit down.
Say, buddy, you can't go in here.
Okay, kid, I'm a doctor, just like you. I'm his doctor. How's he doing? Answer me.
We've got a faint pulse, but no spontaneous respiration. And he's unresponsive.
Do a trachea out of me.
Doctor, he's gone.
Give me a trach, kid.
Doctor,
Come on, give me a trach, kid. Give me a
problem? Auto accident. He's not ventilating.
Okay, we do a trade.
Yes, Doctor.
Thyroidectomy.
About 5 years ago was a rough one. He's had trouble breathing ever since. Not a bad job. I've seen worse.
Oh, well, thank you.
I didn't catch your name.
Stewart. Ted Stewart.
Oh, sure. Dave Craig's other boy, I wonder. Huh? Pretty good job, anyway. Let's just hope we caught him in time. Thank you, Doctor.
Let's get an EEG and a skull series.
Dr. 359. Dr. 359.
How is he?
Elena. I won't con you. I couldn't carry it off. You wouldn't want me to.
He's dead.
No. No. Now, don't anticipate me. No, he's not dead. He's still breathing. His heart's still beating. I think he's got a chance. Not much, but a chance. It all depends on how long his brain's been deprived of oxygen.
3 months. That's all I had with him. 3 months. Oh, God.
Oh,
God.
Come on. Now, don't do that now. I told you, he's not dead yet. Look, honey, you want me to phone somebody? Pete, maybe? Loopy?
No. Is there any place I can... a church?
Sure, there's a chapel right over the next wing. They call it a meditation room. That's the way they do things these days, but it's really a chapel. Come on, I'll take you there. Come on. Come on, it's all right.
Flat as a pancake.
Dave Craig. Dave, we've just done a skull series on an emergency patient. He's got a flat EEG and he's not responding. I'm sending him to intensive care. No, it's minor bruises. The basic problem seems to be brain damage. Now, there's a chance... There's a faint chance he could be a donor for Marco.
How's he doing?
Same.
What about the skull series?
It's negative.
You plan on going tonight or tomorrow morning? With the transplant?
Boy, the grapevine in this place is frightening. I don't know when we'll go. If we'll go.
Supper, Mr. Marco.
Thank you.
Some supper. Custard, gelatin, and, something. Something I've never seen before. I hope I never see again. Steve, when I get out of here, first thing we're going to do, as soon as I'm able, of course, is go to Marcel's for dinner, huh? You, me, the kids, everyone. I've already planned my meal.
Sure, Dad.
Hey. What's the matter?
Nothing.
Now, look, son. I am going to get out of here. You can be sorry for me, sure. But don't you mourn for me yet. Okay? Now, come on, let me see you smile.
You keep talking, I won't be able to feed you.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, what are you doing?
Well, you ought to be grateful. It looks terrible.
You see, he's not only a doctor, he's a gourmet. What is it now, Doctor? More tests?
No, we just want to keep you hungry for a while.
You've got a donor?
We have a possible donor. Blood grouping's compatible. They're tissue typing right now. If it's compatible and if permission is granted. Get a knife and cut it out.
Surgeon's answer for everything. You'd operate on chicken pox if we'd let you.
Yeah, probably do him some good, too.
You want me for something?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Lab pushed the go button on Rodriguez. Tissue's compatible.
Any change in the EEG?
None.
Did you get an AVO2 measurement?
Marginal.
So?
So? Doctor, if you would, I'd appreciate it if you'd talk to Ben Gold for me.
We're not exactly the best of friends.
Well, that's better than perfect strangers.
Where is he?
Home.
Ted, I've got a date.
And I need that permission.
But we've got theater tickets.
And I can't waste 1 minute more after that donor's pronounced dead than I have to.
Peggy, you'll kill me.
Well, blame it on your mother. She was the one who wanted you to become a doctor in the first place, wasn't she?
Good evening.
What'd I do now?
Nothing.
In that case, you can come in. Come on. I've been keeping up. I can't concentrate, though. Rodriguez.
I looked in on him a little while ago. His EEG's still flat.
Yeah, I know. Telephone. Well, there's still time. You don't think so, huh? If I'd have some French fries?
No, thanks. Doctor.
You have some anyway. Yeah. You think I should quit on him? Well, I've given up on a lot of patients, Doctor. You have to at a certain point. It's hard as hell for me to give up on Rodriguez. I've known him since he was a kid. I've saved his life 3 times. Well, does that sound like I'm bragging?
No, it sounds like you've been doing your job very well.
That's the truth. That is the truth. He's a loser. He is a hard luck guy. Oh, the first time he had some kid disease. I can't even remember what it was anymore. When he was 16, he got cut up pretty bad. For a while there, I thought he was dead. And there were complications after his thyroidectomy. Oh, here. I got a glass somewhere if you'd like to have a little of this small milk.
No, no thanks.
He always paid his bills. He always paid his bills, which is a lot more than I can say for some of my patients. And he invited me to his wedding. Have you met his wife?
No.
She's one of my patients, too. Rodriguez. I worked too hard to keep him alive, to get him this far. I worked too damn hard. I'm not about to lose him now.
Doctor, if you do lose him, there's a patient in the renal unit. He needs a transplant. Very soon.
In about 5 or 6 weeks, taking it easy at home. After that, no complications, you start leading a pretty normal life.
How about getting reservations at Marcel's, huh, Steve? Say, like, about 2 months from next Saturday.
Headaches are starting up again?
Yeah, it's all right. I'm not gonna worry about a little pain now that I can see daylight.
How soon before you take him down?
Just as soon as the donor's pronounced dead.
I don't want to seem morbid, Doctor, but do you have any idea how long that'll be?
His physician's here now.
I don't know why I keep looking at that. I guess I keep wishing the numbers would change.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's his wife.
I know, but...
Well, let her in.
Yes, Doctor.
I'm sorry, nurse. I'm sorry.
Mi amor, mi amor. No sé por qué nos pasó esto. Te quiero. Te quiero tanto. I wanted to see him for the last time.
What do you mean last time?
When they gave me this paper to sign, I knew it was over.
Give me that. Get out of the way, fella.
If you were paid overtime, you'd be the richest living American. As a matter of fact...
What kind of a place are you running here? What about a miserable, crummy waiting? Miss, you better get out of here. My language is going to get pretty rough.
You go on home, Mercy. You can type it up in the morning.
Are you sure that...
Yes, quite sure. Good night.
Good night.
Now, before I get this place closed with a padlock put on the door...
Sit her down! I could out-yell you back in medical school, and I still can. I hope I won't have to. Now, what happened?
Okay. I've got a patient here, Frank Rodriguez. He's still alive. Not exactly kicking, but still alive. You got those lunatics in surgery. They want to cut him open right away for a kidney transplant. In a pig's eye, they will.
Yes, Doctor.
I'm glad I caught you. Have Dr. Stewart come up here right away, and you take off. I suspect your account may be slightly colored, Ben. Let's hear the other side, shall we?
Mrs. Rodriguez?
Yes?
I'm Steve Markle. The son of the man who's...
Oh, yes.
Well, I wanted to... well, first, I wanted to tell you how sorry I am about Mr. Rodriguez. I'm really sorry.
Thank you.
And how grateful we are, my father and I. How grateful we are to you. It's kind of hard to put into words. I just hope you know how we feel. If there's anything at all we can do.
The paper.
What?
The paper. The permission. I haven't signed it.
And she won't sign it until I pronounce her husband dead.
No one in this institute had any intention of proceeding until you had, Doctor. I think that should go without saying, Dave.
Then who told her Rodriguez was dead?
No one. I suppose when I asked the nurse to get the consent form signed, she assumed
But
that
that's quite an assumption, isn't it?
No, not really. After all, the patient has no response to the environment. No reflexes, no muscle tone, no spontaneous respiration, a flat EEG.
Don't patronize me, fella.
Furthermore, Dave, we measured the oxygen consumption of the brain. It was marginal. Now it's dropped off.
There's only one rule that says when Rodriguez is dead, that's when his attending physician, me, Ben, go when I say so, and I say he's still alive.
Ben, will you try to be civil? This is a matter of some importance. If we can't discuss it calmly and intelligently...
He almost died on me once before, Rodriguez did. I pulled him out of it.
Is that why you won't let go now?
Is that bad? Is that so wrong?
No, it's commendable. I know how you feel, Doctor. I feel the same way about Markle. I don't want him to die. I don't want his 18-year-old son to be the sole support of 3 younger kids who've already lost their mother. But if he dies because I can't get him a new kidney in time, I'll just have to face it.
I guess I went off half-cocked.
What else is new?
Nurse, I'm Dr. Gold. How is Mr. Markle?
He's stable, Doctor.
Thank you.
There's a phrase that's interesting. Was murdered.
Hollinger was murdered.
No, we need to know is who Hollinger was and who killed him.
Perhaps we can
Hi.
get Sheriff Poole to tell us.
Sheriff Poole?
It's called bluffing with one.
Markle?
That's right.
We're gonna need some wheels.
You wanted a surgical team?
No. I'm just another doctor.
Right.
Oh, thinking what I'm thinking?
And you a fair game. What do you think my chances are?
That's hard to say.
Oh, no. No, not for me, it isn't. Everything's going to work out great. I've got faith. Oh, not because I'm a very religious man. It's just, I guess I'm an optimist. You know, when you're a widower with 4 kids, you got to be. Did you meet my oldest son?
No.
Oh, well, he stepped out for a few minutes. He's at the age where he's supposed to hate his father and everything he stands for. But you know something about Steve? He doesn't even have a Che Guevara poster on his wall.
Well, maybe that'll come later.
Yeah. You know something, Doctor? You look gloomier than my son.
Just thoughtful, Mr. Markle. I don't think you should talk anymore. Not because you're boring me, but because you have to get your rest now.
You leaving?
Yeah.
Not going to examine me or anything?
No, I just came by to meet you. Wish you good luck.
Oh. Well, that was very kind of you, Doctor. Doctor who?
Gold.
Well, it's been a great pleasure meeting you, Dr. Gold. See you around.
Sure. See you around.
The rest are picked up from Scuttlebutt. How can a doctor be so
ethical, Steve? Doctor's first responsibility is to his own patient, and he's been...
An orderly to 506, please. An orderly to 506.
Oh, hi. I had some time to kill. I thought I'd...
You're Dr. Gold?
Steve, right?
You're gonna let them operate, aren't you? Aren't you?
You don't understand, Steve. You see, I have
You're
a
killing
patient...
my father.
Yes,
Do you
but
know
I-
that? You're killing my father.
but-
You're killing him. You're killing him.
Nurse? That's my son out there. What's wrong?
It's all right, Mr. Markle. It's okay. Everything's okay. Steve's fine. Everything's under control.
Nothing.
No, Doctor.
Are you all right, Doctor?
Yeah, everything's great.
I'm sorry about that scene in the hall.
Oh, well, I'm sorry about the one in Craig's office. I'm gonna give him a little longer.
Maybe too late for Mr. Markle.
But it's too early for Mr. Rodriguez. Dr. Stewart, please. Dr. Stewart, then Gold. Okay.
Doctor, the EEG, I think I'm getting some activity.
It's amazing the way it happened. I was all set to pull the plug and...
Yes, I was just given a briefing downstairs by 2 wide-eyed nurses and 3 gaping interns. How's he doing?
Improving steadily, Dave. I still don't believe it myself. I'm sorry I had to drag you away from that dinner, but...
If you hadn't, Paul, I think I'd be looking for a new chief of medicine.
Oh, hello, Doctor. We were wondering when you'd get here.
Mr. Markle.
Doctor, you didn't bring the orderlies with you. And where's the cart? You can't wheel me to surgery without a cart.
There isn't going to be an operation tonight, Mr. Markle.
Oh, no.
Steve, it's gonna be all right. Be fine, I promise you. Doctor, this headache is just terrific. You suppose you could give me a shot or something?
Right away, sir.
The way things are going now, I wouldn't be surprised if you got up and started jogging right around the block.
I doubt if you could. You're exhausted. Why don't you take a break?
Well, I'd,
Go ahead, I'll hold the fort.
Okay. Dr. Gold?
I might as well. It's gonna be a long night.
He's in fibrillation.
Ventricular tachycardia. Crash cart. Lidocaine 50 milligram bolus. Get out of the way. Paddles, please. Get back. Get back. Give me 250.
250.
Give me 400.
400.
Come on.
I think that did it. We've got sinus rhythm, but the blood pressure's down. Get an isopro drip started.
Right away.
I wanted to tell you that... I heard about your husband. The miracle. I guess everybody in the hospital's heard about it by now.
Dr. Wright, please.
I can't be a hypocrite. I just can't.
Steve. That's your name, Steve?
Yeah. Mrs. Rodriguez. Most of me wishes it never happened. That your husband was dead. That he'll still die. But another part... I guess that's the part my father's responsible for. I hope it comes out all right. I really hope he makes it.
His cardiac output is low.
He's not responding to the drip.
You mean his heart's failing? But why?
He was in an automobile accident, right?
Yeah?
Third collision?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
In a serious accident, the first collision is the vehicle against another object. The second collision is the impact of the passenger's body against the interior of the vehicle. There's also a third collision, when the victim's internal organs impact on the rigid inner surfaces of the body itself.
Like the heart hitting the sternum, which could account for severe heart damage, left ventricular failure.
Paul? Your bypass pump?
Mm-hmm. Unless we give his heart some help, we've lost him. Will you speak to his wife?
Pete?
Yeah?
Are you ready on the pump?
Ready anytime you are. Clear.
All right, Pete, let's go on partial bypass.
All right, going on now.
We're going on full bypass.
Okay.
Are we up to formal? I think you're under the table, Paul.
You're looking good here, Ted.
All right, let's start cooling him down. Take him down to 30.
Okay, down to 30.
Cross-planting the aorta. Bypass pump. Anything holding, Paul?
Fine.
Fine, Stitcher. Fine. How long have we been on the bypass?
56 minutes.
All right, let's come off the bypass.
We're off. Arterial pressure is 90/70, venous is 21, and we're about 300 cc's to the table.
How does it look at your end of the table, Paul?
Looks great so far.
Fantastic. Oh, just fantastic. Worked like a jewel. I only wish my watch ran that smooth. I gotta hand it to you, Doctor.
You made a small contribution yourself.
Oh, yeah, sure. I gave up. 2 times I gave up.
Gentlemen, I've heard enough arguments for the day. After what happened tonight, I scarcely think another one is warranted.
What's your prognosis, Dave?
He's got a fighting chance. Of course, if he does recover, it'll be weeks before we'll know if there's any brain or organic damage.
But he's still alive.
We'll let Paul's bypass pump support his circulation for a while. Give his heart a chance to recover.
Hi.
Where you been? Thought you were coming up with us.
Oh, I was with a patient.
Mr. Marco? I'm sorry about him.
I'm happy about Rodriguez.
Well, gentlemen, I have a big day tomorrow. Thanks for the coffee, Dave. I'll see you in class, kid. Good night, gentlemen.
Goodbye, Doctor.
What about Marco?
Well, we're trying every major hospital again for a donor. Meanwhile, he's alive.
You know, I've been thinking about having a family doctor.
You mean a, quote, specialist in family medicine, unquote?
What he means is a Ben Gold, whatever you call him.